talking with Trey. Hey, we'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want, baby. Hey, cause we talking with Trey. Talking with Trey. When we tell you the truth, so you move about your day. Hey, we talking with Trey. Hey, talking with Trey. Hey, talking with Trey.
Alright, so Nelson.
What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good, bro. Good.
Yeah,
good.
so me and Nelson go way back.
Yeah.
As I stated before, he's a mental health advocate, former Division I athlete, and also an ed tech entrepreneur. So, Nelson, if you just want to introduce yourself and let the people know what it is that you're doing with Ecotex and some of your mental health advocating, introduce yourself and just let us know what it is.
So, like Trayvon said, man, me and him go back. He was my, if you believe it, he was my guide around when I was a recruit here at the University of New Hampshire, coming in, a young senior in high school looking to play Division I football. Trayvon was the first guy I met on campus. He's my guide for my official visit weekend, and big reason why I committed to the school, man, on that weekend. So during my time here at the University of New Hampshire, I really worked to try to take advantage of all the campus has to offer. I love sports. I was really wrapped into my identity as a football player and was infatuated with the idea of me playing at a high level and being the star of the UNH football team, and that guy that came in as a recruit, walk on and move on and get a scholarship and make it to the next level. Things don't always add up in your favor. That's life, some things like that happen. But I was fortunate enough to also, really take advantage of the network and stuff that opportunities have here at school, and wanted to be a part of it off the field as well, and take advantage of the platform you have. Everybody has a platform, but I was able to take advantage of the platform I have here, and that's how I got involved in mental health through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, founding an event called Bench Out the Stigma, which works toward destigmatizing mental health among students and student athletes here at the University of New Hampshire. And all the proceeds go to Project 375, which is an organization founded by Brandon Marshall, NFL wide receiver, or former NFL wide receiver now. And then also during my time here, I bumped into a fellow student athlete, Joel Nkuku, who we together co-founded a startup. It was really his idea, and I'm glad he brought it to me and brought me into it. I'm glad I saw the value in it. Named Ecotex, so that's named the educational technology startup that we have together. It's now a team of 6 of us, and our goal is to make the cost of textbooks no longer an out-of-pocket cost for students, but rather something that's embedded within the tuition. So students no longer have to pay out-of-pocket fees. They can attribute scholarship aids and loans to those costs, and they can get the books they need guaranteed on the first day of school by downloading off the cloud or off one of these iPhones or tablets, phones that people carry around these days. So I've had a special, unique experience in college that I really am proud of and happy about. And life's good, man. Life's good. Post-athletic life is here. It's hitting me like a ton of bricks, But I can say I have no regrets about picking this school, and no regrets about my time playing football. And a part of it is a tribute to the fact that I'm doing these other things too, and the byproducts of those work.
Awesome. So as you all can see, this man has a plan. He's in motion of making it successful and taking the steps that he needs to take in order for it to succeed. So Nelson, can you just start off by talking about, being a mental health advocate, and what are some of the things that you deal with? What are some of the topics that you've talked about? And then, go into a little bit of the bench, what was it called?
Bench Out the Stigma.
Bench Out the Stigma.
Yeah, Bench Out the Stigma.
Go into that a little bit, just so we can get a sense of idea of what you did for, each one of your professions.
Professional. I hope one day I can be called professional these days. So to kind of dive deeper into the mental health advocacy part, working within SAC and going through the ebbs and flows of football, really, going through and again, those first few years I was here, I was very wrapped into who Nelson is identity-wise as a football player. And the ebbs and flows that go along with the game, things are out of control. People get hurt, you get cut, you get benched for reasons unknown, those things happen to you as you're playing the sport, especially at a Division I level, and it only gets worse as you go along. And those things are really starting to affect me a lot in ways I didn't really necessarily like. And, you know, I had a support system, strong support system in my family, and they're the ones who really urged me to say, hey, maybe you should talk to somebody objective outside the field that can really work you through these different things. And I always talk about providing a toolbox, you know, having a toolbox for yourself, that these are the things in which I can lean back on, that make me feel good, even if it's for a moment. And you build that up brick by brick as you go along. Those little things start to add up to big things, as we know. It's a big saying in football. And it's, you know, it's, and those are the things I started to develop as I was going to therapy, right? And as I started to seek out that counsel. And that really moved me to then say, you know what, these are important tools. And these are important tools not just for me to have, but for all athletes, I think, to have. And I wanted to bring that into the field house. And through my role in the platform I had at SAC as a co-president, I brought this idea forth and cultivated a wonderful team of other student athletes who felt very passionate about mental health, who shared the same experience and wanted to see there be more of a vocalization about it within the athletic department, and open it up to the rest of the university as well, because the fact of the matter is, this is something everybody deals with.
Exactly.
You know, everybody has their bouts with mental health. Everybody has their ebbs and flows of life, and it's important for people to understand how to deal with those in a healthy way. And we really wanted to try to make that known and make a statement, and that came to fruition through the Bench Out the Stigma event, which we founded, 2 years ago. It's been going strong ever since. It's been really an honor to work with those student athletes, and an honor to say that we created this type of event that we hope goes on years and years after we're gone.
Yeah, awesome. So can you talk about the Bench Out Stigma a little bit?
Yeah.
Talk about the process and what it is that you had us do, because I participated in one of them, and it was great. It was a real great turnout. Yeah. You've been doing it for how many years now?
So this is coming up on year 3. Year 3 is coming up. This is going to be the third one. It's going to be coming up week after spring break, March. Yeah. So to kind of talk about the really nuts and bolts of the event, it's a good old-fashioned competition where you have most reps and best lift, different women's and men's bracket, and that's really one aspect, and that was the nugget, really the founding motivation for it. So how can we make it kind of fun and competitive? But that's just one aspect of the event, and almost like a side aspect of the event. You know, we really focus on trying to get as many people into one room as possible, talking about mental health in an open and healthy manner. You know, so we invite different sponsors. Last year we had about 4 or 5 sponsors. We gave away an Echo Dot raffle. We had pizza, drinks. You know, people could come and just have this shared community space. If they want to compete in an event for an opportunity to win a gift card of your choice, then you know, that's awesome and fantastic, and that's always fun for people to always on look and see the athletic abilities of, you know, one of the big dudes on the football team want to go in there and you know, 15 or 1 rep, or you know, one of the women's swim and dive team last year took most reps, 20-some reps, you know, underneath. It was pushing it. I think, you know, so it was amazing to see that. You know, it was amazing to see that. You know, and it's always fun to be able to hand out those awards afterwards. But the big focus is really talking and getting people in a room from that have power, have influence, that also you know, who need to hear this positivity, this positive conversation around this just natural occurrence of life.
And so why do you think it's so important to have people come together and talk about mental health? Because, you know, I feel like a lot of people in general, but, you know, talking about the athletic department, just talking about athletics in general, I feel like a lot of athletes deal with mental health, but they don't make it known, or it's not so visible because of the sport that they're playing in. You know what I mean? With their, you know, demanding schedule, and you know, the whole idea of you got to be tough if you're a college athlete. You know what I mean? And so, why do you think it's important to have those talks and to have those meetings? What about it drives you so much to, you know, take that leap of faith and to go out into the athletic department and to start that whole ordeal of, you know, Bench Out for Stigma?
Yeah, so you know, the biggest motivation for me is because I can remember vividly walking towards spring practice my freshman year, and literally walking over it, and on Durham campus there's a overpass where the train runs underneath, and when I'm walking, and as I'm progressively walking, getting closer and closer to the field house, my heart rate is going higher and higher, because I'm being asked to compete. I switch positions. I'm playing an unformed position to me, you know, being more primarily an offensive guy in high school, to move now to the defensive side of the ball and having to really grasp all this new information that was coming to me. As I'm walking progressively closer and closer to the field house, I'm starting to have what now I realize is a panic attack. Didn't know at the time, but I had a panic attack. I'm literally keeled over, like on the underpass, just like having to get my breath.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Because I'm now walking into this environment where at the time I felt like if I were to make a mistake, it was like the end of the world. Like already behind the 8 balls and non-scholarship guy.
Right.
It was like, everything felt like it was so critical.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I didn't have the emotional awareness. I didn't have the toolbox that I kind of speak of to be able to lean back and in that moment, gather myself.
Right.
I had that episode, and that was really a turning point for me, where I was like, okay, I might need to seek out some assistance on this in terms of objectivity and somebody who can help me work through some of these feelings I'm having while playing the sport. And I know, and that's the thing is, I look back on that feeling and having future conversations. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know that's not a unique experience in a way, which is unfortunate, but it's part of the course when you're playing at this high Division I level, hyper competitive level. And I think oftentimes it's seen as like a vulnerability, and you don't want to give somebody a competitive edge on you.
Right.
By admitting the fact that you're having trouble with dealing with certain things going on with just the ebbs and flows that go along with athletic injuries. Replacements, recruits, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So really, that was the motivation. Is that I don't want somebody new, freshman coming in this foreign place, in this foreign experience, potentially, to feel the way I felt in that moment,
right,
and helpless in the way of how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I wanted to let other athletes know and other students know that those emotions are valid and true and human.
Yep.
Really, they're human, and really, this is not a place where you should feel afraid to talk about
exactly,
that.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So, let's go ahead and transition right over into talking about you in Ecotex and how you and your guy got it started up, and what's the whole point of it, and what's the vision? Where do you, I don't know if you can speak for Joe, but I'm pretty sure both of you are on the same mindset, but what's the vision that both of you see for this in the future?
Yeah, so to kind of speak about Ecotex is, I was fortunate enough that opportunity of being within SAC got the attention of a fellow student athlete, Joel Kuku, right? And Joel Kuku was a track and field athlete here, one of the best track and field athletes that came out of the school, and he had this idea of how can we better service students in this country by obtaining their necessary literatures and titles for their books that are mandatory.
Right.
Oftentimes, especially for him, he was a STEM guy, so he had a lot of different textbooks that cost upwards of like $350, and we all had to relate.
That's a book,
and that's one book. That's one textbook, right? And you're talking about a college kid here, that has to put away different types of them and working all summer for them to attribute all this money towards their textbooks. There has to be a better system, right? And it is all birthed through this similar story that we all can really relate to about this. A teacher asked me to buy a textbook, it's $100-something. I look at it, maybe I buy it and we read one chapter out of it and never use it again. Or you just choose not to buy, or whatever the case may be. I never bought textbooks in college. You hear that all the time.
Buy y'all textbooks.
Buy the textbooks if you can. But
I stopped at the freshman year.
We're going to try to make it a better way. We're going to try to make it a better way. The truth of the matter is I stopped too. But it all comes back to this affordability factor. And through Ecotex, what we're trying to do is make the cost of the textbooks a flat rate fee, really we're aiming to make it a flat rate fee that is then embedded within tuition that greatly depreciates the cost that students pay for textbooks. We're looking to make it somewhere between $200 textbook, whether that be a flat rate fee or per credit course, but $200 per semester for a student to get their textbooks they need, and that's for every class that you're taking. That's, on statistic records, it's upwards of $1,200 annually that students have to put away for textbooks typically. So really our biggest drive was how can we help the student population obtain the literature they need at a more affordable rate, and we see embedding within tuition being the model that is best suitable and best useful for the student body moving forward through the electronic textbook method, right? And just creating this aggregated system in which everybody can take advantage of the education and also continue with the business strides that have been made in the past in a holistic way, which is beneficial for everybody involved. And it just was birthed through that similar struggle of, I need my textbooks, but I ain't got money to pay for them.
Exactly.
And how can we make that, how can we eliminate that barrier to entry for a kid who maybe might be thinking about going to college, and college is becoming even more mandatory. But maybe there's a kid out there looking to go to college and just looking at the the courses and everything and say, man, if I go to school, I can't even buy my textbook. I'm not going to do well in my classes.
Right.
We don't want that to be even a consideration. We want everybody to have the opportunity to higher education. And